Today I'm going to show you how to make a micro drying cartridge. That's what we call it. Frequently when you have an organic liquid, the liquid will be wet. And what that means is not that it's a liquid, it means it has some water in it. And typically what you do is you take a drying agent like sodium sulfate and put it in the bottom of the sample and then decant or filter the sample out. And the drying agent absorbs the water molecules that are contaminating your sample, because as organic chemists we do not want H2O in our samples. Okay? So the problem with that is that when you filter, and you might be able to imagine this by now, when you filter, you lose a lot of your compound on the filter paper and on the drying agent. So sometimes we use a technique that's a little more complicated to set up, but it gives you better results. And what we do is we take a pipette, just a disposable pipette, we take a little piece of glass wool, and I mean a little piece, like maybe something about that big, so you can see how little that is. It's like nothing. This is one of those things, though, there's no exact amount you have to put in. You don't have to get really fussy about it. All right, and then what you do is, I'm using a little piece of copper wire. You stuff that glass wool into the bottom of the tube. And anyone who's done chromatography, and I won't be able to do it, of course. Let's see what happens here. I'm having problems. But, you know, everybody has problems on some days. There we go, got it in. Okay, it's almost like you're making a little chromatography column if you've ever done that. Okay. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of drying agent and just pour it out. And my problem is going to be, how am I going to get the drying agent into the tube? I'm going to take less than that. I don't need a lot. We're going to try to put about 2 centimeters or about 1 inch of material in. Okay. I'm going to do this over the sink because I am going to spill it. This drying agent is harmless. And what I've got is a folded piece of filter paper. This is kind of how I recommend you do it. I'm putting it in. Now, oops. I've got about, the glass wool goes up to about here. There's a little bit of drying agent, so I want about double that. So I'm going to put some more in. Sodium sulfate is harmless, so if I spill a little bit of it, we can just wipe it up with a sponge. You wouldn't want to eat it, of course, but I'm just saying it's not something that you have to worry about getting a burn. All right, now I put a little too much in. Now I've got about, I would say I've got 1.5 inches, so I'm going to take a little bit out. You know, you can share this stuff with your friends when you're doing it. All right, so that's about right. I'm going to put a little less. Okay. You'll probably do this about 6 times during the course. Then what we do is we take another little piece of glass wool. You don't have to do this. And we plug it in the top. This is just in case, supposing your sample has a little bit of particulate matter. If your sample has a little bit of solid in it, it will get filtered out. You probably don't need that piece. That's not totally necessary. Now what I'm going to do is taking another pipette. Now this would be a tiered vial or container for your final sample. So that means you've weighed it first. I'm going to take my liquid, which is wet. And what I mean by that, again, is it has some water in it. And what you want to do is drizzle this through this little column that you've made. And you want to get it to percolate through the drying agent into this new container. Now, what's happening now is really typical. It's really typical for it to get stuck, okay? If it gets stuck, this is a little precarious here. Wow. If it gets stuck, what you do is take your pipette bulb, put it on the top, and put a little pressure on it. You can just put a little pressure on that and it'll start moving. It's starting to drip now, so you can see it's dripping now. Now what is this doing? As the liquid passes the drying agent and passes through the drying agent, it's picking up the water molecules. What is the advantage of this? We can recover much more material when we have a very, very, very small sample. And you would do this for the rest of your liquid, and at the end, give it some pressure and get the rest of the liquid out. And you'll actually get a very, very good recovery of your organic liquid. Okay, so you can see the liquid in the bottom here. I'm kind of a little shaky there. Like that. Okay? So, you know, anytime you're going to do a drying, review this tape. I'll see you in lab.